There's a certain kind of player in professional golf who doesn't just play the game, they play the rule book, and most fans never notice until a U.S. Open is on the line. Wyndham Clark just won his second U.S. Open title at Shinnecock, wire to wire, six-shot lead heading into Sunday, dominant by every measure that matters. But before we talk about the trophy, we need to talk about three moments, three separate occasions where Clark found the edge of the rule book at exactly the right time. Three moments the officials cleared, three moments the internet couldn't let go. Now, here's what I want to know before we get into it. Do you think understanding the rules better than everyone else is a skill? Or is there a line between mastering the rule book and exploiting it? Drop your answer below right now, because by the end of this video, your opinion might completely change. And if you've never seen this channel before, this is what we do here. Every time the golf world can't agree on something, we break it down until it makes sense. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Now, the first moment. And it happened on a Saturday, on a hole that almost nobody was watching closely enough. This isn't some journeyman scraping through cuts. Clark is the reigning U.S. Open champion, one of fewer than 10 players in history to lead every single round at Shinnecock. By every metric, he belongs at the top of this sport. But Clark carries something else with him. Last year at Oakmont, after missing the cut, he put a hole through a 121-year-old locker room door. He apologized publicly, called it inexcusable, and most people moved on. Most people. Because when you carry that reputation into a controversy, and the controversy involves a rule book, a camera platform, and a six-shot lead in a major, the internet doesn't give you the benefit of the doubt. It loads your history into the chamber first, and here's what makes this story genuinely interesting. By the end of this video, you're going to hear Clark say something that sounds almost identical to that Oakmont apology, except this time it lands completely differently. But before we get there, the 17th hole, Saturday. Here's exactly what happened, what the rule actually says, and what almost every viral clip deliberately left out. Saturday, moving day, the difficult par 3 17th at Shinnecock. Clark's tee shot sailed left into thick fescue rough. Bad miss, costly on paper, until officials noticed the ball had come to rest near a TV camera platform that directly interfered with his swing. Here's what the viral clip skipped. A camera platform is classified as a temporary immovable obstruction. Under the rules, if it interferes with your stance or swing, you're entitled to free relief, no penalty. Officials find the nearest point of complete relief. You drop within one club length, and play continues. That rule applies to every player on tour, from major champions to first-time qualifiers. Almost nobody disputed the relief itself. What caught fire was the moment around the drop. Clark visibly clearing grass from the landing area before releasing the ball. Golf account NUCLRGOLF posted the footage with one question: was this fair? That was enough. Three camps formed instantly. Camp 1. Clearing grass before a drop is explicitly legal. End of story. Camp 2, legal doesn't mean the lie he played from was one his original shot earned. Camp 3, smallest but loudest, flat-out accusations that a club pro would never get away with the same procedure on a Saturday morning. He chipped on, made the putt, saved par, lead fully intact. And here's the question nobody stopped to ask in that moment. What if Saturday wasn't the first time? Clark's first major title. On the back nine Sunday, with the lead tightening, his ball came to rest in a position where he claimed interference from a sprinkler head. Free relief taken, lie improved. He went on to make the crucial par that protected his lead. Officials signed off. Rulebook said legal. But players in the group noticed the drop landed him on a cleaner patch of fairway than the original position suggested he deserved. Nobody filed a formal complaint. The moment disappeared inside a champion's celebration. Until now. Midway through the final round, Clark took relief from a cart path that bordered the rough, standard procedure on its face, except the nearest point of complete relief happened to place him in a significantly better angle into the green than the shot he'd actually hit. Two caddies from competing groups mentioned it afterward in interviews. Both stopped short of calling it a violation. One said quietly that he'd never seen a cart path drop work out quite that well for a player in a pressure situation, which brings us back to Saturday. Same tournament where he's just won his second major, same pattern. Pressure situation, relief taken, lie improved, crucial shot converted. 3 separate occasions, 3 different tournaments, each one individually explainable, each one officially clean. But here's what changes when you lay them side by side. It stops looking like a player who got lucky with the rulebook. It starts looking like a player who understands exactly where the rulebook bends and goes there deliberately. 2 moments cleared and forgotten, one that broke the internet, and a winner's interview afterward that nobody expected. 3 incidents, 3 clean rulings. And yet, here we are, still talking about it after the trophy's been handed out. So let's take Clark's name out of it entirely for a moment. The USGA writes one rulebook. It applies identically to every player who tees it up. From a weekend amateur at a public course to a 2-time major champion at Shinnecock, same words, same procedures, same relief options. But the rulebook was written for the average competitive situation. It was not written anticipating a player who has studied every clause, every relief procedure, every drop zone interpretation well enough to know, in real time, under Sunday pressure, exactly where the nearest point of complete relief will land him. That gap between what the rule says and what the rule assumed is where this entire conversation lives. This isn't about cheating. Clark hasn't cheated, not once, across any of these 3 moments. Every official who was present signed off. Every ruling was held. The question is something quieter and more uncomfortable than cheating. It's whether the rulebook at the highest level of the sport has gaps wide enough that a sufficiently intelligent, sufficiently prepared player can navigate them in ways the average viewer and the average competitor simply cannot follow in real time. Weekend golfers play the same rules, but they don't have a USGA official walking beside them on every hole. They don't have caddies who have pre-mapped every relief option on the course. That's not a complaint. It's just the reality of what elite tournament golf actually is versus what most people watching at home recognize it as. Strip away the controversy and the question becomes simple. Is the problem Wyndham Clark? Or is the problem that the rulebook hasn't caught up with players smart enough to use it precisely? The USGA says there's nothing to see here. A loud portion of the golf world disagrees. Both can be true, and that's exactly why this story was never going to end with the final round. But here's what the rulebook debate doesn't account for. What happened on Sunday? Paired with world number 1, Scottie Scheffler, who was chasing the career Grand Slam, Clark walked into a gallery that sang Scheffler happy birthday on the first tee and openly cheered his misses. One fan was ejected for heckling him directly. The crowd wasn't neutral. It was hostile, openly, for 4 hours. And Clark absorbed it. An early bogey, a struggle on the par 5, 5th, a missed short par putt. Sam Burns, who started 7 shots back, climbed within 1 stroke by the back 9. The 6-shot cushion that looked untouchable on Saturday morning was nearly gone by the 12th hole on Sunday. Then a 24-foot birdie on the par 5 16th after a wayward drive. Off a lie nobody handed him. That putt didn't come from a rule book. It came from something else entirely, the kind of composure that separates players who win majors from players who nearly do. He absorbed a 3-putt bogey on 17, 2-putted from outside 50 feet on 18 to close it out, in front of a crowd still largely rooting against him. And then, in the winner's interview, the moment this whole story was building toward, Clark said the hostility from the gallery was, in his words, partly self-deserved. Given his history, he thanked the fans who stuck with him anyway. Same self-awareness as the Oakmont apology. Completely different weight behind it this time. So here's where I'll leave you. Is Wyndham Clark a player who understands the rule book better than almost anyone on tour? Or a player who has figured out that understanding the rules and using them are 2 very different things? I'm not going to answer that. That's yours. Drop your verdict in the comments, and while you're there, tell me where you're watching from. Country, city, doesn't matter. I'm genuinely curious where this channel reaches. Every comment gets read. If this breakdown is the kind of content you want every time the golf world can't agree on something, subscribe, because the next one is already in the works.